Welcome back, everyone, to the Fix My Fees podcast, where we spotlight incredible business owners and leaders across the country. I'm your host here, Jeffrey, and each episode here is designed to highlight the stories, the wins, the challenges, and lessons learned from entrepreneurs who are building real impact in their industries. From past podcasts that you guys have seen, I covered actually multiple different industries. We'll say I'm actually very excited to talk to this individual today just because of the creativeness that really comes with his profession. And I really think that you guys will get very great value from it. And I know that, with my creative mindset, it needs to really expand. And I also just personally am going to say that I think I'm going to get value from this as well, which I'm very much so looking forward to. But with all that being said, who do I have the pleasure of speaking with today on today's podcast?
Excellent. Jeffrey, thanks so much for having me. My name is Ben Lund. I'm the founder of Rise Marketing Group. Been in the digital advertising space for 20 years. It's crazy. Um,
20
and even though
years.
I've been in it for 20 years, it's just as much fun as it's ever been because it's always changing. Years ago, I used to work at Yahoo, and that was the portal to the internet. Everyone get their mail and their horoscopes and click on all these crazy links. And eventually, I landed at Google there for a bunch of years, and then entrepreneurship was pulling my way and started to Rise almost 8 years ago.
I mean, wow, man, that's an incredible already track record that you have. And really what I want to know, and I know our audience really wants to know this, what's the origin story? How did you really get into what you're doing now? Or even like, let's just start way back, even when you were at Google or Yahoo. It's like, how did this really all come about?
Yeah. I've always had an entrepreneurial mindset and something was always pulling me, like start my own business. I wanted to build something, I wanted to create something. And I never knew what that was. I always thought you needed to have a storefront, you had to sell product or whatever. And as I was doing more and more marketing, eventually kind of clicked. It's like, I could sell my service and do for other companies what I do for them when I was at Google and Yahoo, etc. And then but then there was, kind of like an inflection point and like a really tough question I asked, like, okay, you're gonna start, how do you do it? Do you do it as a side hustle while working at Google and also while being a dad of a few kids? Or do you just go all in? And I landed on the conclusion of like, you know what? If I'm gonna make this thing work, it's really hard to get startups off the ground. I need 100%. So gave my notice to Google and day one just started grinding away and gave myself a little bit of runway, get these clients and get going. But that was it. It was just something that was pulling at me. And at the time I was 36, I'm 44 now. And I just realized like if I'm not gonna do it in my 30s or so, I'd probably never do it because life gets more expensive, kids get older, eventually have to worry about college, etc. So I'm like, this is it. And the worst case that happens, it doesn't work. I scratch the itch. And then you work for, another big media company. You don't lose your skills just because you leave. And, thankfully, almost 8 years later, we're doing it. We have a great team behind us and we're growing every year. And I want to keep it going.
Man, that's awesome. So I want to touch on a point that you just made. So you were talking about like how do I really get into this? How do I really start doing this? Am I gonna do this part-time? Am I gonna work at Google full time and do this, like my
Mhm.
Google's my 9 to 5, and then this is my 5 to 9 type of thing.
Yeah,
How do
yeah.
I manage that with, raising a family, raising kids? So I know that our audience is going to be listening in on this and really thinking like, okay, like I work my 9 to 5, like, yes, I get paid, but it's like, I want to, I get paid good, I get paid decent, whatever the case may be, but I'm like eager to really branch out. However, I am very timid. I'm very scared. I'm nervous. Can you share with us a little bit, just kind of like, I don't know, how do you essentially take that leap of faith, man? How do you take that leap of faith to really go into the fire and like be like, all right, you know what? I'm going to put my 2 weeks in. I'm going to do it and
Yeah.
I'm going to give it my all and we're going to see what happens. So yeah, could you explain a little bit like I guess like how in your mind did you really get to that point and just to do it?
Yeah, but I was thinking, when I was at Google, that's certainly a 40-hour a week job and probably even more than that, but also a father, etc. And I just realized, like, if I try to build this on the side, my performance at Google would definitely go down. Performance as a father, husband would definitely go down. And I wouldn't really give it the dedication to get to lift off. I feel like with any startup, any new business, it takes a ton of effort, just to get the plane like off the runway. Like you have to go full tilt. You're not going to get the plane off going 30% or 50%. It's like full throttle to get lift. And ultimately, it just kinda hit me as, like, I need to leap. I need to leap. It's gonna be scary, and I'm gonna get a lot of scratches and bumps along the way, but eventually, the plane's gonna take off, and then you're gonna be going up and up. So, that was me. I know a lot of people do it differently, but what helped kind of me in that process of taking the leap of faith was knowing that I can work for another company. Like, I don't lose the skills that I've gained, and honestly, I think I'd probably be even more valuable if I went back into corporate America of like, wow, you worked at these great companies and you try to start your own thing. Like, dang, this guy is really motivated. Like, I think that would even be a positive attribute and even like in a better part of my story if I did decide to go back. But my advice to everyone out there is if you're really passionate about it, and passion's key. If you're not passionate about it and you're like, oh, I'm going to make a lot of money, but I'm not really passionate, I'm like, don't do it. You have to have passion because it's going to take a lot of time and effort. But if you're passionate about it, it doesn't feel like work. It's going to be more fun and exciting versus nerve wracking. And for me, I don't know. I mean, it worked for me. I don't know if it's for everyone else, but that's kind of the advice that I would take. If you're going to do it, really do it. Don't just kind of be like, oh, put 5 hours a week into this and see what happens. If you do that, like nothing's going to happen.
No, and I agree with that. At least the advice that, I try myself to, myself, I try to live by, and I also try my best to be able to share this with others that are really growing the entrepreneur realm is it's going to be scary. Like it's going to be scary, but
Mhm.
the why is what really keeps you going. The why, I mean, anything that you start, anything that you do is gonna have they're gonna have rocky moments, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's gonna be even moments where you're going to bed, it's like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know. Like, I don't know if this is actually gonna work out. But when you wake up, that why gives you that fire, gives you that, okay,
Yeah.
today's gonna be a new day. It's like, let's see what wins we have. Even if we do take 5 steps forward and 3 steps back. Okay,
Mhm.
well, there's still a two-step gap right there. Let's try to close that gap for the
Yep.
for the next day or whatnot. So yeah, I agree with that though. Sometimes like if you got to really put your effort into the passion that you have behind it. I agree with
Yeah.
what you're saying.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, once you like relinquish all other work responsibilities and focus on that, it's almost like you're going on a mission, you're going to battle. There's no, car waiting for you in case it doesn't work. Like, no, like there's only one choice and it's to make it this thing off the ground. But it's a ton of fun. And I would say like for any aspiring entrepreneurs, the highs are way higher than working from someone else, but the lows can be way greater than working for someone else. But generally speaking, if you're on it, you're going to be up and to the right. Of course, you're going to have some months you're like, oh, dang, this thing's really taking off. And other months you're like, oh, no, what would I do? But generally speaking, up and to the right. But you need that passion.
I agree with that. And so, Ben, what you're doing right now for the company that you're running, I really want to know this. What is your passion? Like, what's your passion behind it? What's the most thing that like you really love about what you do?
Yeah. The biggest thing, and that's always been constant throughout my 20 plus years doing this, is that we help businesses grow. We help them
Mhm.
grow with effective digital marketing, whether it be ads, SEO, website design development, etc. And there's so many instances where we work with clients, especially smaller businesses, where they're having great years and they're hiring because of all of our marketing efforts, and it's insanely fulfilling. So that's, I feel like deep down, like that's the passion. Like we help businesses grow. And when you hear the success stories and how appreciative they are, that, you know, that really goes a long way.
Oh, yeah, I can see that. So, really, with that being said, like, have you had clients where you you help them from this, say from the start, or maybe let's just say this, maybe you have clients where they are really well established and they
Mhm.
come with you guys to be able to essentially enhance their marketing experience and their get their product out there, get their services out there, and they sold their company say 10x the start. and they, have you had clients where they had like, big returns on essentially selling their companies with you? And if you have, I'm just curious, like how is that feeling where it's like you played a major role in
Mhm.
that valuation of that company growing and them selling and the owners walking away with a bag.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, that happens, I feel like once every year, once every 2 years, one of our clients will be sold, and, it's always bittersweet, but I'm always, like, very happy for them because it's bittersweet because then they sell, and then some other entity sometimes we'll still work with them, other times they have their own marketing department, and, like, we know that, "Alright, we got them to this level, but they're so happy," and we even have, couple of clients right now. One's in the process of being sold. And then another client, he's just really funny. He's like, "Oh, I feel so bad. You guys are doing good, but eventually I want to sell. And what does that mean for you?" I'm like, "Don't worry about me. Like, that means the world to me if we get you to that spot and you sell." And one of the guys actually, he's can't name the company or anything, but he's being interviewed to go on Shark Tank because his stuff is like really taking off. And I was telling him like, "Hey, if you want me to be up there on stage with you, just to like be the marketing guy and talk about the metrics and things like that, I'm more than happy to." But it's very fulfilling when that happens. It's very fulfilling, even though 3/4 of the time that means we will not be supporting the business because a lot of times when you sell, other company either has existing relationships with agencies or they have an in-house marketing team. But also on the flip side of that, a lot of times where we support a company, and let's say we work with a director of marketing, and let's say a company sells, that director then goes to the next company. And we've had instances where one person in particular called us 3 times in a row. We help grow their company, they go to the next one. We help grow, and then she leaves. Then I get the call and like, "Hey, I'm at this company now. Can you help me out?" I'm like, "Absolutely. Let's get going. What's happening?"
Oh, that's awesome though, man. That's awesome. Okay, I'm not gonna ask too many questions about the company
Sure.
wanting to go on Shark Tank, but I know your face. I'm gonna remember it if you do go up there with him.
Oh, yeah, excellent. I'll let you know. I'll shoot you a
Well,
quick
please
note.
do. Yeah, please
Yeah,
do,
yeah,
man. Well, okay, so Ben, I want to transition, and by the way, appreciate you sharing a little bit about
sure.
the feeling of how the feeling that you have when you really grow, and you know that you guys play a integral part of that growth for the companies that you work with, the clients you work with.
Mhm,
Thank you for sharing that because I've always, whenever I talk with marketing companies, I'm just always intrigued with how they feel when they see a client come in with say this amount of revenue that they are at that moment, and then all of a sudden when you guys take over with the marketing, 3 6 9 12 months down the line, you see that revenue just increase, and it's just like
mhm,
I don't know, just that feeling of that you guys have really play a huge part in that growth. Now, I would love to transition over into your business.
sure.
So, can you share with us a little bit about kind of like the day to day? And I'm sure it is different every day, wild every day, maybe, or whatnot.
Mhm.
But could you share with us a little bit like a day to day experience of what you do for your company?
Yeah, definitely. So, and my roles transitioned quite significantly over the years. Like when I first started Rise, I was doing everything. I was doing the business strategy. I was hunting for clients. Then I had to deliver upon what I sold the clients and like doing all the marketing. And then as we grew, like, it's still service some clients, but also kind of being, the manager and leader of a couple of reports. And then where we are now, I mean, I'm really not doing much client work anymore. And I shouldn't because the team needs me to, lead the organization. And my core responsibility is leading the organization, making strategic decisions on where we're going to place our bets and how we can continue to support our clients, and it shows. I mean, when we started, we were just paid media. So Google ads, Meta ads, that's it. And then we added an SEO arm, and then we've been growing that and driving organic traffic and revenue for our clients. And then we made another bet of doing more website design and development. So we're more of that all-inclusive one-stop shop. So yeah, my role these days is vision for company. Of course, I have a couple of reports and I'm only on maybe one client because I just like to kind of stay in the game and have a good pulse on marketing. And definitely a lot of sales and marketing. So I'm the face of the company. I hand all leads come to me, all sales proposals gets out through me and things like that. And also just promoting the business, get on podcasts such as this, do speaking events, doing trade shows, things like that. And yeah, it's been a fun pivot, but it's been a lot of fun.
well, that's awesome though, man. Yeah, I like that. I like that transition for you. And
Yeah,
where it's
yeah,
like you're still in the game, right? You're still in the game, but you can be able to have the bigger visions for the company, which I like.
exactly. And I didn't want to totally alienate or remove myself from marketing strategies because then, when I'm out speaking to business leaders and everything like that, they're like, wow, Ben's really smart, but it seems like his knowledge stopped like 5 years ago. Then you wanna stay in it, and now we're in the AI revolution, and I'm, like, way into that of, like, "Okay, well, what does this mean for marketers? What does this mean for clients? How should they be visible? Should they be thinking about it?" So, yeah, you always at least for me, I have a passion about for marketing, so I always like to have some level of pulse, whether I'm doing some level of client work or I'm just, like, working with our team of, like, understanding what works best for our clients.
Now, okay, so you do bring up an interesting point, and of course, a topic that I talk about with every client that pops up on
Mhm.
the Fix My Fees podcast, AI. But we're gonna come back to that, man. I because I
Okay,
have a good
sounds
question
good.
for you. Well, okay, so with that being said, though, Ben, with your role and your day to day life within your company, I would love to know because there's a lot of marketing companies out there. A lot of marketing companies that, promise certain things or, how do they really stand out or whatnot. Now, my question to you is what does make you different from your space?
Yeah, definitely. I think the biggest thing so one, it's important to understand what type of marketing agency. We're not a branding agency. We're a performance marketing agency, which means dollar in, dollar out, what type of return that you're getting. That's like in like our DNA.
Okay.
So of all the marketing agencies, we're that performance marketing. But there are still a lot of performance marketing agencies out there. But I feel what really sets us apart from the rest is every solution, every proposal is highly custom. So we take time to learn the client's business, all the nuances, all the intricacies, and customize a program that really works for them. A lot of bigger agencies, nothing wrong with bigger agencies, and who knows, maybe we'll become a big agency one day, is they're over processed. They're over processed. And any client's like, hey, I'm interested. They're like, great. We have this awesome process. You're going to go into it and we're going to do XYZ. Really understand the client's business and their whole model works, let's say for 80% of the clients, like 80% is like, okay, yeah, this thing works. But maybe for 20, it just doesn't, but they don't care because it works for the majority of it. So when you work with these bigger agencies, it's just like you're into their process and that's pretty much about it. But when they work with us, like, we really sit down, like, I'm on every kickoff call that we have and, like, really understand the nuances of every business so that we can certainly craft, like, a program that's gonna drive success, highly analytical, so we can see if what we propose, what's working, great, let's put the gas on that and keep on growing it. What's not working, great, let's cut it, we got our learnings, and what's kinda mediocre, alright, let's optimize it based off of what we learned from the successes, so highly customized approach is what we do.
Okay. Okay. Now that I would say that does separate you from the competitors. And something that you also mentioned, and I know that this timeline it varies, and I get 100% that any marketing approach
Mhm.
you can't really give it like 100% a timeline of like, okay, this marketing approach, we're going to give it, 3 months, we're going to give it 6 months, or even the company itself, right? Sometimes, would you say that sometimes some clients, the marketing strategy, just based off the industry itself, maybe take a little longer to have
Mhm.
the fruition come into play, come to reality than like, say, other ones?
Yeah, absolutely, and as we've been growing, we're actually a little bit more selective in the clients that we bring on because
Okay.
earlier on, I would take anyone that wants to give us money and I know we could do a good job for them. Great, they're gonna be a client. But what we found is, like, we would work with a lot of startups that are like, "Man, I got this great idea. It's gonna be the best ever. This product, everyone's gonna love it." And they ask questions like, "Well, okay, how many sales do you have?" Like, "Well, we don't have any sales yet." I'm like, "Okay." And they're like, "But we believe with your marketing, we can get a lot of sales." And really what marketing does, it gives you more of what's already happening. So if you have a site, if you have a product service and you don't really have sales, or that means that there may not be a true market fit at that point. Throwing more marketing, getting more people to your site isn't necessarily going to change that. It's just going to drive more of what's already there. The clients that we love, and they could certainly be startups, have a proven business. They have a proven product like, hey, people are buying this, they're asking for it. We don't get a lot of traffic to our site, but we do get a good conversion rate. So something's there. And then that's what like piques up my interest. I'm like, okay, so let's drive some marketing because marketing's just gonna shine a light on either the business is successful or not. It's just going to accelerate everything. And then, yeah, and then what we give our clients, I mean, usually within 3, 4 months, you'll have a really good pulse. Like, is this going to work? I mean, even usually the first month of any campaign, we're going to start to get some sales and customers. But like, once you get that 3 month range, you're gonna know, like, is this working? And majority of the time, I would say 9.5 times out of 10, that's when we, like, honed in on that target audience, the right messaging, the right landing page, and things are working, but, yeah, for anyone who's listening that's thinking about hiring a consultant or an agency, you really wanna budget around at least 4 months, 3, 4 months of, like, an honest effort and trying a bunch of strategies, and then eventually it's gonna hit. If you have a successful business and there's a product market fit, it's gonna hit. It just takes time. And sometimes we'll launch programs week 1, they're getting sales like, you know, kinda easy. Like we just it worked day 1, and other times like, huh, it's not working. Let's try this until you sift through the data and really understand like what's working and what's not.
Okay. Yeah, that would make more sense, I feel like, giving like that 3 to 4 month
Yeah.
range really to see if anything is clicking. And then, with your clients or with future clients that, not even necessarily just for your company, but just in general for marketing agencies, they can really kind of assess like, okay, is this working? Is this not working? So
Yep.
yeah, that I would agree with that. Yeah, that makes I feel like that's a solid time frame essentially to see if something is working or
Yeah,
not
yeah,
working.
definitely.
Yeah. Okay, Ben. So with that being said, to kind of go back to the point of AI that you mentioned, because I would love to hear your thoughts on some of the industry trends. So with I guess really, what are your thoughts on it? Do you use it more so like as a tool, or really are you looking at it more scary, where it's like people may not really necessarily need marketing, agencies to really do their marketing because they could possibly just go into Chat GPT and, have this whole AI system, create a marketing video, marketing website or whatnot.
Mhm.
So like, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, definitely. So one, we're definitely leaning into it. See this as a very powerful tool for us as well as all the clients. And honestly, what I'm seeing as a shift is that marketing agencies are even that much more valuable because clients are like, AI, like, what does this mean for me? My organic search traffic is dropping because you Google anything now, they're all into AI. Like, you don't necessarily get all that traffic anymore because you have the AI overviews and it just kind of answers questions for them. But it's such a unknown that businesses are now even more in need of agencies of like, help me figure this out. Like my traffic's going down. I'm not being cited by ChatGPT, Perplexity, Gemini, etc. Like, what should I be doing? So in a way, that's actually been some tailwinds for us. That's we're helping our clients out with that. And I'll also give, a perspective that you should always proceed with caution when over indexing on AI. And I'll give you an example that just happened 2 days ago. Client came to us, or potential client came to us like, hey, can you help us out? Like our organic traffic on Google just plummeted from 5,000 visitors a month to pretty much nothing. And what we found is, and I asked him like, okay, I was kind of going through everything. I'm like, who wrote all your content on your website? And they have a big website. Let's call it like 500 plus pages. They're like, and I'm like, do you just use AI? And they're like, yeah, just AI. I'm like, got it. So what's happening is Google will AI smart, Google's really smart. And Google, if they identify that your site was written by AI, primarily by AI, they'll just remove it from the index because
Wow.
yeah, because it doesn't add any value. So you think of like what AI content is, there's nothing new to it. It's a regurgitation of everything else that's on the internet. So you can't be like, oh great, I'm gonna create like 30 blog posts a day. Cool. But once the engines pick up on it that this is just AI content, they're gonna demote it pretty hard. Now, not now it's a fine line because you can still use AI for content. You can use AI for keyword research, blog outlines, etc. But you can't just use AI content 100% because there's no value. There's nothing else there that you're giving. So even if you use AI, let's say for 50% of the content, fine, but have your own voice, perspective, opinions within whatever article that you're doing. So it actually is unique. And if you just have a bunch of generic content on your site, that doesn't really give you that much at all.
Okay, that's interesting. Wow,
Yeah,
that's
so
really interesting.
yeah, it's fun and so it's you want to leverage AI because it's a great tool, but you also have to be very strategic and be thoughtful about how you're going to use it and how this is actually going to lift you up versus just getting overly excited and build all these pages that's not really going to do anything for you long term.
Oh, okay. Wow, that's really interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
I really never thought about that, where if a website or really any content for the company itself that's trying to drive traffic, towards that, like that funnel, if Google essentially finds out that it's all AI created,
Yep.
they're going to demote it. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, you can look it up, just kind of do some Google searches. There's a lot of instances out there and but yeah, so you just need to be like thoughtful in how you're using AI. But AI can be an amazing tool going through, doing competitive research, doing keyword research, and even helping out with like copy for ads and things like that. And creative, that's a whole nother aspect. But helpful tool, you just need to be like very thoughtful about how you're approaching it, especially if your business relies on traffic that's going to your website.
Oh wow, yeah, okay, yeah. Appreciate that insight, man.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
Yeah, that's something I really didn't even really think of. I mean, I knew like, I know that they were cracking down a lot when AI was really starting to boom with like, fake news, right? Like,
yeah, yeah.
CNBC or what, in the politics, what was being said or whatnot.
Mhm.
I've realized that they were starting to really crack down on that, but yeah, no, that makes more sense now as
Yeah.
explaining that.
And also, like, even on a creative standpoint, and this isn't me, like, bashing AI, we use AI all the time. My
Of course, yeah.
choice is ChatGPT, but, like, even with, like, running meta ads, if you're a consumer and you're, like, on your feed and you see 2 companies, one video is you can tell it's just AI generated, and one's, like, a real human, you're gonna gravitate more from purchasing from, like, the ad that's actually the a real human business owner, whatever, telling their real story for something that you're like, this is AI. In AI, you can do like funny videos and things like that, but like always just kind of have a mindset of like, where's the connection with your audience? So just a couple thoughts there.
Okay. Well, no, that's good to know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, anyone listening to this, don't create your whole website just of AI.
Yeah, don't do it. But everyone should be looking at if they have a website or a business, how are they ranking on Google? When they
Mhm.
prompt in ChatGPT Perplexity best, businesses for XYZ or trying to prompt for their product, are they getting cited there? And if they're not, that's a really big marketing opportunity because what we find is that of the referral traffic that our clients get, and including ourselves, from ChatGPT, Gemini, etc., the conversion rate on that traffic is significantly higher than just a Google organic click. And there's a reason behind that because if you can get into the AI tools and they're citing your products or services, they're almost like pre-qualifying you prior to visiting your website. So if someone
Huh.
like does search for like, oh, best marketing companies, Boston, Massachusetts, it's not going to just say like list 5 links. It's going to say, here are the top 5, Rise Marketing Group, led by a former Googler. They do performance marketing, blah, 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 blah. So it's almost like pre-qualified. And if they like what they read in that 2 paragraphs or so, they click to the website, their propensity to reach out to us is significantly higher because they're already kind of pre-sold through the AI tools of like promoting us and like really talking us up in a good light.
Yep. Okay. That makes sense. I can see that. The smart move. The smart move.
So, but yeah, it's a very interesting industry, and one of the many reasons why I love digital marketing is it's always evolving. It would be boring
Mhm.
if it was static. It was be boring if nothing was changing. And advertisers, so many more, and marketers, so many more opportunities. So I'll give you one more example. Currently, when you want to advertise, of course, you can go to Google, you can go to Meta, TikTok, etc. But these AI tools are going to start to monetize through paid traffic. So ChatGPT is building out their own ad platform. And you better believe that we're going to be the first to get our clients on as soon as they open up. Like, I want our clients early adopters. So when they're searching for best HVAC company, and that's our client, we want to have a promoted link right there, get them over to it. So it really comes down to wherever clients are looking for products or services for our clients, we want to be there and be present to drive that and be an early adopter whenever these platforms are
Smart
available.
move, man. Yeah, that's smart. I like that idea a lot.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay. Okay. I mean, big plans for your clients in the
Oh,
upcoming
yeah,
future.
absolutely.
I love that. I love that. Now, so Ben, so everything that you're sharing is really, I mean, really like great to hear, honestly, and really great insight. Now, when it comes to your company, I'm going to ask you really a two-part question, and
Mhm.
I love to get your elaboration on this. So, can you share with us the big proud moments that you've had for your company? Say within the last 6 to 12 months that you like to emphasize and share with us. But then also on the flip side, what are some challenges that you guys have faced?
Yeah. I would say that probably the biggest challenges we've faced as a company is probably whenever we had financial setbacks. And I'll give you two examples like COVID, right?
Mhm.
That like put the whole world upside down. And I was probably year two, year three into the business. And we were humming. We're growing X% year over year. And then COVID hit. And I remember I got that first email from a client. They're like, hey, a lot of uncertainty. We have to pause marketing. I was like, oh, that kind of stinks. Okay, whatever. One client. And same day, got that second email from the next client. It's like, hey, a lot of uncertainty. We're not sure. We got to cut all expenses. Just like hunker down. We don't know what's going to happen. Like, oh, okay, that stinks. Two clients. And it was like five clients later within 2 days. I'm like, oh, dang. I'm like, this is real. And yeah, at the time, it wasn't just myself providing for my family. Like, I had a team to support, and the team has families. And the last thing I would ever want to do is lay someone off. Thankfully, we didn't have to, but it just like really took us to like hone in of like, okay, how are we going to overcome this? Keep the sales and marketing going. And then ultimately what happened is the e-commerce vertical really saved us because everyone was just bored at home buying a bunch of stuff on Instagram. And then so that part of the business like really kind of helped us out through that moment. And then the same thing a couple years later where inflation was getting crazy and there was talk about a recession. I feel like there's always talk about a recession. But but yeah, it was same thing where we had a couple large venture-backed startup clients pull because economic uncertainty, and then that just kinda comes to back to is like, "All right, how are we going to level set this?" But ultimately, it all comes down to making sure you're always investing in your own sales and marketing and promotion. So whenever those macro trends hit and you're down and all businesses are down, you wanna be a flat line. You don't wanna be down, and then when times are good, then amazing, but and I share this with every client. Like some of our clients that we work with, they might have a successful business for 10 plus years. And I'm like, great. What are you doing for marketing? How much are you investing in marketing? They're like, well, not much. I'm like, well, if you want more customers, like you can't just depend on referrals. Like you just need to have like an ongoing stream of new prospects coming in, whether that's through organic search, now AI, whether that's through ads, trade shows. You always have to be promoting yourself because you never know when that headwind's going to hit. And when that hits, you need to make sure you still have pipeline coming through to like level the ship and you're going to be okay.
Mhm. Yep. No, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense with those challenges. And to end this on a great positive note, what would you say that are some big wins that you would love to give kudos to the team um on within this past, say 6 to 12 months?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest wins is and even most fulfilling come from so we've morphed into a full service marketing agency. And clients love that because they don't want to work with an agency for our paid ads and then our organic and our web development. Our best and most fulfilling wins come in when a client comes to us like, "Hey, I need help with everything. Like, I need to redo my website. I need marketing. I need SEO." And then we all like rally as a team and everyone has their own specialist. We have our web development team work on this, our graphic designer design the website. We have our paid team working on all the paid ad strategy and our SEO. And when it all like comes together in like a nice crescendo at the end, then it just like it's working and it takes a lot of time and effort. It's not easy, but when you get it right, it's really fun. We're like, wow, this was a team effort, super collaborative. The client sees it, and it's fulfilling for all of our team where everyone's doing an excellent job, but all for that same vision to drive growth for the client.
Oh, absolutely. And, would you say that as like client projects come up and you do have that, crescendo of everyone has their expertise and whatnot, would you say that grows naturally, organically, the culture of the company and grows like the closeness with everyone, the collaboration and it makes it feel like people aren't just like dreading work when they wake up?
Oh, yeah, definitely. And, sometimes if we have a client issue, it brings us even closer together. Like, we've had instances where a client reached out to us like, leads are kind of flat. And they're like, all right, message heard. Let's rally together. Let's see what we can do. We put all the minds of the company related to that account. So be myself or directors and PVC managers, everything. And we just kind of get down like, all right, let's look at this from every angle. Like what's working, what's not, put together a plan. We all get on the call with the client, present it, and a client really appreciates this because they're like, "Hey, I find this isn't working to our expectations, and you guys like really stepped up of like, all right, what else is out there?" Brings it closer together. And then another thing in terms of like camaraderie is, yeah, I'm calling in from our office. I feel like I'm one of the few marketing agencies that like to have office space because we have a hybrid work environment, but everyone usually comes in 1 day a week and everyone likes coming in when everyone else is in the office. And it's just fun. We'll all get together. Sometimes we'll have meetings together. We usually always make room for lunch, grab burritos down the street, whatever. But we can talk to each other about like, hey, I'm having this problem with a client. What do you think? Or just like getting to continue to know everyone on a real personal level of like, hey, what's going on in your life? What's happening? And so, I think remote work is great, but it's also really nice to be in the office at least 1 or 2 days, get people together. So you're not just kind of like, yeah, in a basement somewhere, just cranking away on a keyboard.
No, right. You have a valid point there. You do have a valid point. So then with the success of your company, the success of, from the challenges that you guys have had with, especially like, you were saying with COVID, the clients just dropping off
Mhm.
like flies and really the uncertainty that you guys have had, as a business has been growing. But then also with the culture development, feeling, like, everyone is enjoying what they're doing
Yep.
and is enjoying each other and really, all in all, with everything, the success that you guys have had, what is and this is gonna be a loaded question as well. What is one solid piece of advice that you can give to our audience of, again, taking that leap of faith, of growing a successful marketing company and building a great culture for the I wouldn't even necessarily say employees, but the team members that are
Yep.
really growing this vision. What would you say essentially like a good piece of advice that you can share with our audience?
Yeah. I mean, it seems silly, but treat to others how you want to be treated. And what I'll say is it's way easier to replace a client, insanely hard to replace someone who's very valuable to your team. So I always prioritize team over, I hate to say this out loud, but over clients. Like if we have, let's say, a toxic client or a client that's just nasty or like difficult to us and we're doing everything that we can and they're kind of being a little unfair, I always side with the team. Now, if the team kind of messed up on something, I'm like, okay, how can we make this right? But and there's been times where I fired clients. I'm just like, and I'll say the reason, like, like you guys are really tough, sometimes unprofessional. We're doing all that we can. Because the last thing I want to do is like keep a potential toxic client. Sure, they're paying their bills and everything, but the last thing you would want is to have someone like not motivated for work, and just because they're working with a couple bad clients, and let's just get them out. And I'm usually pretty good at sifting through it, but sometimes you just get that random client, like, wow, they were so nice in the whole like sales process, and kind of a little difficult. But yeah, like protect your team. Your team, you're nothing without your team. And then I also like set guidelines for our team of like, you know, 9 to 5, work hard. After that, like you should sign off. Sign off, be with your friends, be with your family. It's going to recharge you for the next day. If a client emails you, don't feel like you need to respond at night or on the weekends. The only time if it's really truly urgent, like their site's down, great. But and I tell our team, like, train our clients, like, you shouldn't like I had some young employees that will like respond late in the night over the weekend. I'm like, don't do that. You're just training them and then you're gonna get burned out and then you're gonna leave. So it's like So, anyways, I value the team because A plus player will be insanely hard to replace over X amount of clients.
That's absolutely valid. I completely agree with that. I mean, clients, they will come, especially if you're doing great work through referrals, through your own marketing of your own company, right?
Yeah.
Or really just essentially results of past clients, new clients will come. But if you do lose a high quality team member and all of a sudden maybe two, three, maybe it's a trickle effect, you can be almost essentially screwed at that with a great team and to be able to provide that great service that you guys have provided in the past.
Yep.
I mean, great stuff, man. Like seriously, great stuff, Ben.
Oh,
And
thank you.
before we do wrap up here, Ben, and don't worry, this is also going to be attached to our description and way easier access to be able to have
Mhm.
people find you, reach out to you. But can you share with us, like, how can people find you? How can people, reach out to you? What any social media handles that you wanna share with us?
Yeah, so I would just say, our company's Rise Marketing Group. Just Google it. Our URL is risemkg.com. But yeah, if anyone wants to chat marketing or anything, just reach out and then I can schedule a call with them and we can go from there.
Well, awesome, man. Well, again, Ben, I really do appreciate your time for this podcast. I will say, I personally have gained access and gained really great knowledge about the marketing industry more and more listening to you. And also, on top of that, I think that our audience has gained great insight value. Really, in all parts of where they're at, if it's the beginning stage of entrepreneurship, they're in the mud, maybe they got out of the mud, but they feel like that they're kind of getting held back somehow. They don't know how to
Mhm.
get to that next level, or even for those that just simply want to know more about the marketing industry itself. So I really do appreciate your time, Ben. Thank you so much for sharing all your insights.
Yeah. Thanks so much. Really enjoyed the conversation.
Well, great. And also for any business owners listening to this podcast, if you'd love to share your story, spotlight your company, and build some great content for your brand, we'd love to have you on the next future episode. Just reach out to us on whichever platform you're viewing this. It's YouTube, Instagram, TikTok Reels, and let us know. And we'd love to consider you for the next episode. Thank you again, everyone, for tuning in. And Ben, thank you again as well, man. And I really think, like I said, I think that everyone's going to get great insight from this. I can't wait till everyone sees it.
Excellent. Thanks so much.
Thank you guys. Have a great one and see you on the next episode of Fix My Fees. Bye.